And, the other thing that I don't think is brought up enough, when we talk about guys that Vince McMahon messed up that were handed to him, like the Road Warriors or the Steiners or whatever it may be, or guys that just didn't work there, or guys who were handed bad gimmicks. When Dusty first arrived, forget about the vignettes. The vignettes introduced him to kids like me who hadn't seen NWA yet. But when he first started appearing on TV, tie-dyed shirt, no polka dots. He seemed kind of cool. He seemed like one of my dad's hippie friends. Like, he seemed all right.
Yeah.
And then they introduced the polka dots, and to me, that took a lot of the steam off Dusty, because he just seemed like a really cool, fat, fiery baby face. Anyone loves that. And then they made him corny. No disrespect intended, but then they made him corny, and then they added Sapphire. And then all of a sudden, it's like, all right, before I was cheering some wild guy that kind of seemed like the man of the people, the American dream. Now it's, what is this? It's like some kind of circus show.
Yeah, because Vince didn't.
But it was unnecessary. My point is, Dusty coming in with a tie-dyed shirt and trunks that said DR on him would have gotten over, and he was getting over like that, to kids like me, just because he was beating the shit out of the boss man and Slick. We didn't need the polka dots. It was an unnecessary thing to rebrand them for WWE.
Exactly, because Vince didn't think that his fans would get Dusty, even though just 5 years previously, his fans had got Dusty. And I think part of it was that at that stage of his life, unless you grew up with Dusty or not even grew up with him, but just you had the knowledge of who Dusty was and what Dusty was about almost everywhere, because he had been in front of you regularly. And then there was that period of time where for the people who only watched WWF, they didn't see Dusty Rhodes for 5 years. And in that 5 years, he'd gotten older, and he'd gotten bigger, and he didn't have the. We've seen those old tapes from Florida in the 70s. Dusty had amazing fire, and he was fast, and what an athlete he was, and he got over, he could electrify people. But now he's bigger and he's older, and he's starting from scratch, and they think to help him out, they're going to give him these outlandish outfits, because Vince always has to showbiz up everything. And then I can see that they thought, and Sapphire will give him, some color. I didn't even mean to say that in a way it might have been taken, but they're always talking about how to add color to guys, how to add personality to guys, how to add sizzle to the steak. And it's invariably with, just gimmicking somebody up to where you're going, like you said, what the fuck? What is this? But that's and
I was 9. I mean, that's the whole, their whole argument is we needed this for kids. We needed this to make him a personality. He felt like that to me. And I didn't know anything.
And you still don't. But but that's the thing, is that if Vince doesn't understand something, or doesn't know why other people understand it, or just has to change it because it's not what he would do, that's what you end up with. And a lot of guys that got over when this was still a thing, when there still were territories that got over everywhere, they would go to the WWF in the initial expansion or toward the end of their career or whatever, and completely change everything they had done, and it didn't work. Wonder why?